So welcome and thank you so much for joining us today once again for the Keep Africa Trading podcast from TradeMark Africa. My name is Moses Kemibara. I'm the host of this podcast today. We're here in Kigali for the Africa Trade Development Forum, being on the 2nd and 3rd of December 2024. And the big theme at this event is digital trade. But more importantly, what is trade and what are the trade opportunities that are made possible through financing options? And our next guest is going to break that down for us and how he's working with an arm of TradeMark Africa to make that possible. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So maybe you can introduce yourself, your
Yes.
name, and what it is that you do in your organization and your organization as well.
Yeah, I'm Naeem Pasta. I'm the CEO and the founder of Container Technology Ltd, based out of Mombasa in Kenya. We specialize in disrupting construction by using upcycled shipping containers and converting them into habitable space or structures as typical traditional construction will go, but we're bringing the upcycling, bringing more green technology to traditional forms of construction.
What was the inspiration behind this idea? Because that sounds a bit unusual to me.
So my inspiration, my background is in logistics.
Okay.
Of course, based in Mombasa, being the port city of the region of Kenya, but of the region. We deal with the shipping container quite a lot to move
Exactly.
cargo. So we know the container as a box very well.
Yes.
So when we had a requirement to improve our own infrastructure within our offices, we found challenges in typical construction, delays, just getting approvals, the cost. So we decided to use some of our accident containers or disposed containers to convert them into office space, and that's how it all started. So we had a requirement for ourselves. We started messing around with these containers, and a few years later, Contech was born, and we've now taken it to the market and converting our containers into anything from restaurants to toilets to clinics to warehouses.
And what would normally happen to these containers if they don't get
End up in a scrapyard.
Just sit in a scrapyard. End of story.
They'd be sat in a scrapyard somewhere, and eventually, because steel is very precious in this part of the world, anywhere actually, but especially in this part of the world, it would go back into melting into a steel factory or so the emissions that come out of a used shipping container are huge.
Wow.
So we're literally taking that away and repurposing it so that it can be put back in better use, and that's where the upcycling come in, because we're taking something that has almost scrap value and turning it into a building.
So when you talk about that, there's something very interesting that's coming to mind. Of course, there's the green component, there's an element of sustainability. But what's been the uptake like, and by which industries? Who's buying from you?
Everyone.
Across the country, across East Africa?
Across East Africa. So actually across Africa.
Oh.
We have successfully this year shipped our first units by sea to West Africa.
Fully built, whatever.
Fully built up. These were classrooms. Sponsored by, it was part of a CSR by a very famous tech company, and they wanted to provide digital skills to people in rural areas. So we started in Kenya, Uganda, Ethiopia, Uganda, and we moved these by road because they're accessible. But then West Africa became a problem, but we took it as a challenge. We did the classroom, built it all in Mombasa, put it on a vessel, went all the way around to Sierra Leone, Nigeria, and Cote d'Ivoire.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, and as we speak now, we have one on the road that's on the way to Zimbabwe.
So you've gone basically Pan-African?
Correct. We want to go global. And that's how the shipping container was built. The shipping container's history was to promote trade, to take trade global, because previously it was just bulk. It was just bags and sacks and the container was brought in to transform trade. We're using the same container now to transform the construction industry.
Amazing, amazing.
So basically what we're saying is that we, from Mombasa, from the port of Mombasa, are able to ship almost anything built up, ready to use anywhere in the world. As long as a ship goes there, we go there.
Fantastic. Yeah. So Tell me a little bit more about the relationship you have with Trademark and how you're here at this event. I'd like to hear more about that.
Sure. So TradeMark and USAID, of course, have a program to promote garment manufacturing in Kenya and in Africa. And I attended a seminar that basically said that there's a huge shift to move garment manufacturing to Africa by the American brands. But when the brands show up here, or the factories that show up here, they lack infrastructure,
Okay.
basic infrastructure. And we're from Kenya. When you say warehouse, Nairobi is a city of warehouses, right? When
Yeah.
you land into Nairobi, all you see is warehouse roofs,
Correct me.
but they're not fit for purpose for a garment factory.
Oh,
Yes, because there's
so there are types of warehouses.
there's types of warehouses. So most of these factories found that the developers in Kenya want to build afresh, number one, and number two, they want to sign up with the factory 18 months in advance. Now, both these are a problem because one, in the garment industry, the time is a key factor. So 18 months is too long. And two, the companies weren't ready to sign long leases 18 months before it was going to happen.
Yeah.
So when I heard of this, I approached them saying that I could build in 6 months because our concept of building is modular, and we can provide buildings very fast. So I pitched the idea, and we had a phase one funded through ourselves.
Okay.
And that was taken up by an American packaging company for the garment industry. And Trademark came in and USAID came in and said, listen, can we do more? And that's how Trade Catalyst came in, because TCA gave us debt and USAID gave us some grant. We blended it together.
Wow.
And we have a factory that's under build at the moment. That's going to be ready in 3 to 4 months.
And it's scaling up, I imagine.
Correct, yes. So we're going to be providing a 5,000 square meter factory, fit for purpose factory, specifically for garment manufacturing. We expect that to create 2,000 jobs.
Wow.
Once fully occupied, predominantly for women, because the garment sector is dominated by women. So we expect the impact to be huge, and USAID has come in to provide funding for the greening of the project.
Uh-huh.
Yes. So
in terms of how they actually produce electricity.
Correct. So we already we have what we call EDGE certification,
Okay.
which is a certification by the World Bank, by the IFC, that certifies green buildings. Now, because of it focuses on 3 things: energy, water, and material savings. Okay. Now, because of the way we build, we use the shipping container as the main structure. We save a lot on material. We're putting in solar power, so energy, and we have water savings through the types of systems we're using for water and rainwater harvesting. So we've got almost 200,000 liter water tank capacity that's going to be harvesting stormwater, and so based on that, we've achieved an EDGE Advanced certification, which is the first for a garment factory in Africa.
This is happening right now in Mombasa.
So this project is happening in Athi River, at EPZ Athi River.
Wow.
Yes,
Wow.
which is where most of the garment factories are based.
You know, I'm so grateful for having this conversation because you're teaching me stuff I didn't know about and things that are going on the ground. So what is the future prospects of this? Because it sounds to me like, my God, you're sitting on something amazing.
Yes.
That potentially could scale globally.
Correct.
The way I'm hearing it.
Yes.
And then the use cases, because now you have, actual locations, actual, classrooms, factories.
Sure.
Where is this going?
It's endless.
The potential is crazy.
Potential is crazy. It's. I mean, we're serving hospitality, to education, to healthcare, to manufacturing, banking. We're now building. We've delivered this year 5 INM Bank branches.
Yeah,
in Kenya.
they do a lot of those. Yeah.
Yes. So.
And also green as well.
Correct. Yeah. Fully. So those are almost fully off grid.
In the way they operate.
Yes,
Fantastic.
because of the solar power, because of how we build them.
Wow.
So we're covering almost every sector.
Across the board.
Yes.
So naturally, I'm hearing the good side of this story, but what are
Yes.
the challenges?
The challenges in the type of build or in
Just
the
generally, the
environment?
model that you're running, right? What are some of the challenges that you seem to be running into? Maybe from the perspective of global trade, selling
Yes.
your products to other markets.
Yes.
Are there any challenges that you face doing this kind of a business?
Not necessarily, because we haven't really gone out marketing
Okay.
globally.
Okay.
We're just within the region. Kigali, for example, we're in
Yes.
Kigali at the moment.
Yes.
We've not really tapped into
So it's
Kigali
still at that
because
level where it's building
we're
up.
still really busy in Kenya, and the potential is really big, just where we are. My personal ambition is to be able to manufacture houses.
Oh,
Housing is a massive
for you, that's a sweet
issue.
spot, yeah?
Yes, issue in, because that can be scaled. A lot of what we do now is very, it's built for a certain need, or it's sort of customized. Whereas with housing, you can really scale. So the next step for us is to see how we can build modular structures, housing, for example, without necessarily having to rely on the container. So
Oh,
do a hybrid, like what we're doing with the garment factory.
aha. So it's a mix of concrete and,
Correct. Yes,
okay,
but still keeping it sustainable.
amazing.
So if we look at that as potential, then the potential is endless.
So what have been the key learnings from this whole process with you, and specifically building this business? Also, you're working with the USAID and the
Yes.
Trademark Catalyst. What are some of the key learnings that have come out of this process?
So the main one for me is how entrepreneurs like myself can have access to funding, and how if structured in the right way, can unlock huge potential,
Yes.
like I've shown.
Yes.
Right, and there's many sectors, many different types of industries that have this challenge of unlocking funds, because where we come from, or this part of the world, the cost of finance is huge,
Yes.
and usually is a deterrent, a very big deterrent. So when companies like ours are able to show that we're able to service a need sustainably, the funds are available.
Amazing.
Yes.
Amazing.
So that's my biggest learning, or my biggest appreciation from this, is that there is an entity, or there are entities such as TradeMark and USAID and Trade Catalyst, who appreciate sustainable development.
And also great innovation.
Correct?
I would say great
Yes.
innovation. As we come to the end of our conversation, would you say there's any key takeaways that you'd like our audience to take? And also, without being shameful or shameless about it,
Yes.
I'd love you to also promote your business so that people can figure out how to find you online.
Yeah, okay. So we're across all the platforms. Container Technology Ltd is a company.
Yeah.
We're on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, all over the place. So follow us,
Yeah.
when you get a chance. But the key takeaway is really just emphasizing what I said, that if you have the product that is catering. Look, all great businesses solve a problem.
Yeah.
And in Africa, we have a lot of problems. And if you can prove that you can solve a problem sustainably and with the right delivery mechanism in place, it can be done.
And the world is there for you to take
Correct.
it.
Yes.
Fantastic.
And we're young, so all the young guys out there and the ladies can look at this and say, okay, if we have a plan, there is a roadmap.
Fantastic. I think that's a perfect note to end our conversation on. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And there you get it. I think this conversation for me was a little bit different from the other ones we've had at the conference. More importantly, I think I've learned a lot of new things. I've discovered a company that potentially I can talk to about building a house in Shags.
Yes.
But more importantly, I think the opportunities that are made possible to Trademark Catalyst, USAID, and the fact that if you put the pieces together and you appeal to those who are looking to finance and support such businesses by doing them sustainably, using inclusivity, and all the key criteria that matter today in trade and business development, then there are possibilities going forward for you as an entrepreneur or anybody in trade. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to catch you in the next conversation.